We're going to see how this works, how this works, how this works, how this works. I changed the lighting, but the challenge
We're gonna
here,
see how this
oh yeah,
works,
that's
how this
right.
works.
I got to do this. I changed the lighting, but the challenge here is that it looks one way on YouTube and it looks a different way on Instagram. So on Instagram, I look kind of orangey, and then on YouTube, I look a little bit closer to my actual natural color. But anyway, whatever. We're going to go ahead and do this. So, you all believe we are on video number 5. So this whole series is about using AI to make more money in your business with less stress. There's also some sub context to this video series because I'm also talking about really practical ways that you can increase the revenue in your business by at least 33% or more within the next 6 to 12 months. Okay. Now, I have been able to do this with clients within 3 to 6 months, but I know that everybody's business is different. And so, in the interest of being conservative, to fit everyone's business. So everybody's like, oh my God, how are you going to do that? Whatever. So in the interest of that, we're just going to go ahead and say 6 to 12 months. Okay. All right. So in this video, we're going to talk about one of my favorite things to do. One of my favorite things to do because one of the best ways and easiest ways to put more money back into your business is to find money that has already been there. That's like one of my favorite ways to make more money in your business with less stress is by finding money that's hidden in your business already, right? Finding opportunities for money that are hidden in the activities that you are already doing in your business, hidden in the work that you're already doing with your business right now, okay? One of the best ways to do this is with team realignment. Okay, so team, it's working out the infrastructure, the architecture of your team, and then realigning roles. Okay, so that is what we are going to talk about today. So right now, you are probably the default escalation person, right? So if there's an escalation path in your business, you are the default. Everything is escalated to you. And so one of the things that can happen as when you as the founder CEO are the one that everything gets escalated to, everything, not just the things that are priorities, but everything, then roles can get really, really blurry. People's roles can overlap. You can have multiple people doing the same work over and over and over again. So now you're paying for the same work to be done multiple times. You still carry a lot of the operational load. And then what happens is your team is actually underutilized at the highest level. So on paper, you have a team, but the business still runs like a solo operation, right? So you may have, even if you just have one other person or two other people, or you could have a team of 20 or 50 people, right? You have a team on paper, but honestly, the business is still running as if you are still a solopreneur, okay? And so it's going back over the structure of your team and realigning the roles that can help you fix that. And so when you take AI plus strategic delegation, it actually makes you more money and it makes you more money quickly, and it's actually measurable in your business. So as an example, okay, we're just gonna pick a business. We're gonna, use this as our baseline. You can scale up, you can scale down depending on where your business is. I just picked an arbitrary number so that we could have this conversation today. Okay. So let's say that you've got about 3 to 6 clients per month. Maybe you have a really high level, high touch service. So you've got some other products and smaller services that you sell, but the bulk of your money comes from maybe about 3 to 6 clients per month, right? Average client is about 22K is what they're paying to work with you. Your time, let's say that your time is worth $2,000 an hour. Again, you can scale up or scale down based on what works for your business. And let's say if you were to take what you're paying for everybody on your team, you may be paying roughly around $60 an hour is what you're paying. You can divide that by how many other people you have, 3 to 6 people, okay, on the team. And let's say that the average delivery time for whatever service it is that you do. So if you do coaching, if you do consulting, if you do some type of implementation, if you do project-based business, service-based business, let's say your engagements are roughly about 10 weeks at a time with you and your clients, okay? Again, scale this up or down based on your business, okay? So the first problem here is that you are the default escalation path for everything. Clients escalate to you, the team escalates to you, vendors escalate to you, internal disagreements escalate to you. So at this point, you're not just the person who has to lead the company, you are actually serving as the pressure release valve for the company, okay? So let's say you get about 5 escalations in any given day. Okay. This is client issues. This could look like approvals, questions, all of those things. Each one takes roughly about 15 minutes in your brain. Now, it might not take you 15 minutes to, your response may be very quick, but you've got that cognitive load. So you get the escalation, you get the request for the approval, you have to brain switch, task switch from what it is that you're working on right now to what it is that the team member or the client or the customer is asking you to do right now. That's going to roughly take about 15 minutes. So if you take the time to get your mind set up, to review, to respond to the request, and then to reframe your mind back to what it is that you're working on, you're looking at roughly about 15 minutes per escalation. Okay. That's about an hour, hour and a half. And that's 25 hours per month. 25 hours per month. And it's interesting because can I talk to you real quick? Can you approve something real quick? Can you look at this real quick? Oh, I have a really quick question. Oh, I have a really quick problem. Those really, really quick things. Every time you have to take your brain from what it is that you're doing now to go and look at what somebody is requesting you to do at this time, you're losing anywhere from 7 to 15 minutes every single time. 7 to 15 minutes every single time. So at about 2K per hour, if that's what your time is worth, you're looking at $50,000 a month of CEO capacity that's being burned on issues that your team should actually be taking care of. Okay. And so because of this, you have a situation where your proposals are going out slower. Your client issues are being resolved a lot slower, which hurts your retention and it also hurts your upsell. So it hurts your money in other areas down the line. Your projects are moving slower because there might be delays in payments, delays in documents being sent out, delays in deliverables being sent out. Why? Because you are the escalation path for the business. And so the goal is to remove you as the default escalation path and push 80% of those decisions to them. Now, I actually prefer 95%. I prefer to say 95%. Now, you can grow to that. I know, you're the one who's been making all of the decisions. You're the rainmaker. You are the strategist. You are the everything. And sometimes it can be really, really difficult. It can feel really difficult to have to separate yourself from those day-to-day operational tasks. I know that can be kind of scary. So we're going to start with 80%. The goal is to get to about 95%. Okay. So here's what happens. You can feed AI, okay? Feed AI common questions, common client issues, typical internal conflicts. So if you've been successful in your business, you have an idea of the questions that people are asking. You have an idea of the types of conflicts that your team may have internally, right? So you have all of this in your head, approvals that you're constantly asked for. So you're going to feed this in to your AI tool. So here's a prompt that you can use as an example to support you in doing that. Okay. Here are 50 recent questions my team or clients have escalated to me. Group these into categories and create decision rules for each category and define when something should be handled by the team versus when something should be escalated to the CEO. And what the AI tool will do is it will give you categories of current issues. So it'll break them up: billing, scope, client expectations, discounts, delivery scope, those kinds of things. It'll give you decision rules for each category, and then it will create clear escalate if criteria. Okay? Clear escalate if criteria. Okay? So some of my favorite tools for doing this are going to be ChatGPT. You can do Claude. Some people like Gemini for this. I prefer ChatGPT or Claude for these types of things. But if you're in the Google ecosystem, you could use Gemini for that as well. And then if you want something that's internal for your team, that's really, really based on your knowledge, based on your documents, more of a closed system for your team, then Cassidy AI is a great tool for that. Okay. So then in the second layer, you've got your human. And so this is going to be whoever leads your ops, right? It could be your EA, it could be your VA, your ops manager, but they are the ones who will lead the implementation on the rules. Okay. So they will put these documents in wherever your repository is. So if you are in the Notion ecosystem, if you're in the Google ecosystem, wherever it is that you store those types of documents, processes, and things of that nature, they will be responsible for making sure that those get out to whoever they need to get out to. So whether they need to get out to your contractors or they need to get out to the people in your team. And they will also be responsible on training the team on what comes to you versus what goes to the CEO. Now, they could do this manually where they're actually having conversations, or they could use AI to create a really, really easy training. One of the really cool things that you can do with this, or that your ops person can do with this, whoever this person is I love Loom, Loom. Absolutely fabulous tool. I absolutely, absolutely love Loom. Why? Because one of the things you can do with Loom is you can speak instructions into the audio version of Loom, and it will actually take the transcript and turn it into multiple documents. Two of those documents are a step-by-step guide and an SOP. So your ops person can take that, they can use ChatGPT to turn it into an SOP or into a training. They can put it into audio and give it to Loom, and that could be used as a training. So there's several different ways that they can disseminate that information. They can also use it to create templates and process maps for responses. Again, I love whimsical AI for creating those different types of process maps. So those are the options that you guys have. Okay. And now what happens with you as the founder CEO, you approve the rules one time. One time. You approve the rules one time. Now, of course, as the company shifts, you go back and you redo them, right? But for the most part, you approve the tools one time. And then after you approve those rules, then now you are only dealing with the 10 to 20% that actually requires your altitude. So when you reclaim those 20 hours, 20 to 25 of those escalation hours each week, you're looking at about $40,000 a month that's being brought back into the business. Why? Because that's $40,000 a month of CEO capacity. You could use that for one-on-one sales conversations, for partnership calls, for offer refinement and pricing, and for that higher level visibility and strategy that's really going to bring more money into the business. And by taking those hours back, if we go back to the example that we used in the beginning, you could actually take on one more client every single month, which brings in an additional 22K. Okay, in this particular situation, scale it up and down again, remember, based on your business, but it's bringing in 5 figures a month just by you taking those hours back and funneling them into the activities that actually make money in your business. Okay. So here's a second issue that could happen. The second issue is that the roles for people on your team, whether it's your EAs, VAs, teams, contractors, whatever, they can be really blurry and they can start to overlap, or they can get really, really vague. And so what happens is multiple people kind of sort of own the same things, right? So some responsibilities fall through the cracks because, I thought this person was going to do it. I thought that person was going to do it, but the three of you all are doing the same thing. But even though you're doing the same thing, there's other parts of the same thing that need to be done. And you three do the same thing, but you thought that this person was going to do the other part of the same thing. And at the end of the day, all of this stuff gets escalated back to you as the founder CEO. And so that's your that one of the biggest issues with that is that you're actually double paying for work. You're actually double paying for some of the work that's being done in your business, right? So if they could be overlapping roles, the duplicating efforts. So if you've got two team members that spend about 2.5 weeks or 2.5 hours per week in roles that are duplicated, so they're doing the same thing, that's about 5 hours of duplicated effort at $60 an hour, spread out amongst your team, right? That's $15,000 per year in additional payroll that you are spending in your business. $15,000 a year in additional payroll that your business is losing, money that is leaking through the cracks, money that is going out of the door because of duplicated work. Okay. So here's what you do. You can assign outcomes to a clear owner. Okay. Now we're gonna have this conversation a little bit later. But one of the things that happens a lot of times with systems and processes and even automations and things of that nature is that oftentimes your systems are built around tasks and not around architecture. And so what happens is there's a heavy focus on people owning tasks and not enough focus on people owning actual outcomes. And so this is one of those ways where you get overlapping roles and you're paying multiple times for the same work to be done. Okay. So what you do is you're going to have AI run a role and responsibility audit. Okay, it's called a role and responsibility audit. And so what you do is you give AI the current job descriptions for everybody on your team. Okay. And then you give it the actual recurring tasks. Okay, so you can pull those from wherever, you know the tasks that you assign, you know the work that needs to get done. And then you give a list of outcomes for each of those particular roles. So if it's lead gen, if it's client delivery, operations, billing, those kinds of things. And so here's a prompt that you can use. Here are our roles, responsibilities, and recurring tasks. Identify where multiple people are touching the same responsibility. Okay. Recommend a single primary owner per outcome and secondary support roles if needed. Now, the cool thing about this is if you have a team, you can use this prompt and it will organize everything for you. If you don't have a team and you're a solopreneur, you could still do the same thing. And what it will do is it'll tell you, like, this is who you need to hire. This is who you might want to work with. By the way, if you are a solopreneur and you are looking to bring on a VA, make your next hire so that you can start to get some of your time back, you need to go ahead and grab, what do I have? What do I have? What do I have? I have something for you. It is called the Perfect One hiring system. It's the Perfect One hiring system. I promise you, you will get the right one every single time. It's absolutely amazing. Look at the link. There'll be a link somewhere. Just go get it. Okay. Okay, so what the AI will do is it'll give you a list of duplicated responsibilities. It will recommend single owners of outcomes, and then it will also give you some proposed updated scopes. Okay, how do I know this? Well, because it's my prompt. I'm the one that wrote it, right? So I know what you get out of it. So once you do that, or in order to do that, obviously I like doing that in ChatGPT. You can also do that in Claude or Gemini. I just prefer ChatGPT for those kinds of things. Okay, you could use Functionally, which is an AI tool that you can use to help create dynamic organization charts. If you like that type of visual asset. Okay, but those are the tools that you can use to be able to do that. Then from there, whoever runs the things, right? So if you don't have an ops manager, you might have a VA, you might have an executive assistant. You've got somebody on your team who confirms those recommendations because again, this is artificial intelligence, right? So you want to make sure that you have a human in the loop who can go over those things, look over those things. It will update the job descriptions. It will put those updates in whatever your project management tool is. So if you use ClickUp or Asana or Notion, and then they will send out the communication of this is yours. These are your outcomes. This is who owns what and map those out to the team. And then what happens is you as the founder CEO, now the only task that you're left with is approving who owns the key outcomes. So sales, delivery, ops, finance, and then making sure that the strategic roles sit in the right position. That's what you have left. Okay. And so what does this look like in terms of numbers? Well, first you're looking at about $15,000 to $16,000 a year in lost productivity being put back into your business. Being put back into your business. One of the things that you might find when you're looking at those roles and responsibilities, if you use the example that we started with in the beginning, is that somebody on your team may be able to take on an additional client. So now that could bring on additional money into your business. Okay. So you've got one extra client coming in. So that could be anywhere from 20 to 100K, depending on what your pricing is. Okay. And so you have clean ownership of delays, clean ownership of outcomes, clean ownership of the work. And so you're looking at about $100,000 per year being put back into your business, just because you have saved wasted time. $100,000 in lost productivity put back into your business. Okay. Here's another problem that you might be having that AI and strategic delegation can solve to help get you more money into your business. You might still be carrying a lot of the operational work. So you are writing the deliverables, you're managing the daily operations, you're getting pulled into client fires. So every time there's an issue, you're the one that's being pulled in. And so what ends up happening is your growth, anytime your business grows, it feels like punishment. Anytime your business grows, it starts to feel like a threat, because in your mind, every time my business grows, there's more problems, there's more fires, there's more work for me to do. And so let's say you spend about 5 hours a week in operations that somebody else could be handling, roughly about 20 hours a month. You're looking at another $40,000 a month in CEO capacity that is being spent on tasks that don't make any money. $40,000 a month in CEO capacity being spent on tasks that make zero money in the business. So here's how you're going to use AI and strategic delegation to fix this, okay? Because the goal is to remove all non-founder CEO work off of your plate utilizing AI plus your team. So you're going to use AI to do a CEO task and time audit, okay? So I'm going to tell you how you're going to do this, okay? For 2 weeks, I want you to track everything that you do. You could write it down in a journal. You could, one of my favorite things to do is to do voice notes. And the really cool thing about doing voice notes is that if you do voice notes, you can take those transcripts and put the transcripts into the AI. So you don't have to try to formulate, type in what it is that you put into your journal. Okay. So you're going to feed AI what's going on in your calendar, your task list, your emails, Slack patterns, things of that nature. And so here's the prompt that you're going to use. Categorize these activities into CEO only, open parentheses, visions, partnerships, pricing, offer strategy, close parentheses, dash, delegate to the team, dash, automatable with AI or software, dash, eliminatable, open parentheses, no longer needed, close parentheses, period. Estimate hours per month per each group. Okay. Now I've got a document here with these prompts if you want it. Just what do I want you all to type in the comments? Type in strategy 3. If you type in strategy 3 in the comments, I will make sure that you get this document. Okay, I have it. I don't know if you guys want it, which is the reason why I haven't put it out there yet. But if you want it, I can go ahead and put it out there for you. Okay. So what happens is the AI is going to give you a breakdown of where your time is going and a list of tasks for you to either delegate, automate, or delete. Okay. Now, if you're in the Notion ecosystem, AI can support you in doing this. Strategy 3. Okay, awesome. I got you. We'll make sure that we get that to you. Okay. Notion AI will help you with this if you're in the Notion ecosystem. Asana Intelligence actually can help you to assign tasks to the right owner if you're using their AI teammates, if you're in the Asana ecosystem. If you're not, you can simply take those same transcripts and take the same prompt and give it to ChatGPT or to Claude or to Gemini, and you can get similar output. Again, in my opinion, I prefer the output that comes from ChatGPT, but you can use whichever one of those large language model LLM tools works best for you. Okay. All right. So then in layer 2, the human on your team is going to take ownership of all the delegatable tasks. Okay. They will update any SOPs or create any SOPs. Again, Loom AI, Loom AI is a great tool for doing this. So if you have people on your team and you're welcome. If you have people on your team and they're not using Loom, Loom is my absolute favorite tool. I have been using it for years. Okay. Loom. They can create those SOPs in there. And then what ends up happening is they become the first in line for client fires and operations questions. So as you can see, everything that we're talking about today kind of builds on top of each other, right? And then so what happens is for you as the founder CEO, that frees up your time. And so now you can take that same time that you were using for all of those things and use it for actual revenue generating work. Okay. So now you can intentionally block your calendars for your calendar for the things that you can do. So this may be those really, really high ticket sales calls. That might be you. The strategic relationship conversations for partnerships that you're trying to develop, you have more time for that. Offer and pricing improvements, you have more time for that. Thought leadership and visibility, that's going to help you attract more clients, more higher paying clients. You have a lot more time for that. So what does this look like in terms of money? If you can get back 10 to 20 of those hours and use them for revenue generating activities, if your time is worth about $2,000 an hour, you're looking at $20,000 a month in revenue driving capacity that's being given back to you as the founder CEO. And because you are getting that time back, you can take on another client or your team can take on another client. So that's bringing on, in the example that we used earlier, another 20, let's just call it 22K. All right. So you're looking at $135,000 a year brought back into your business that can be generated in your business now because you are no longer the primary operator. Okay. And then the last problem that I want to discuss is this one. And this one I think is really, really huge. Because oftentimes when we start with our team, it's really task based, right? It's like I have things that I need to get off of my plate. And I was watching somebody on YouTube or somebody on Instagram, and they said that I needed to be working on my business instead of in my business. So I'm going to hire a virtual assistant. I'm going to hire these people. I'm going to hire some contractors. And it's very much task based, right? That's fine. It works out. But what happens is over time, you start having people on your team who are being underutilized at the highest level. Why? Because you didn't really have time to get to know them when you first started building your team because you needed to get those tasks off of your plate so that you could do some higher level things, right? Okay. Well, when your team is really talented, then they're waiting on you. And so they are flashing you. They're showing you areas where they can do leader, where they can take more leadership roles, but the architecture in your business right now just doesn't really support it, right? It doesn't really support them staying in those roles. And so the business looks like it has a team, but it still runs like a solo operation with a couple of helpers here and there. Okay? So, underutilized leaders on your team lead to lost capacity. I'm going to say that again. Underutilized leaders on your team lead to lost capacity, which also leads to lost money. So let's say you have two key people on your team that could take on one extra client if they had the clarity, if they had the authority, if they had the structure to be able to do that. If each client is worth 22.5, thank you so much for that here on Instagram. If each client is worth about 22.5, you're looking at $45,000 per cycle of delivery time that you're missing in your business. And if that only happens twice a year, that's $90,000 that's being left on the table in your business. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to give your leaders clear lanes, clear authority, clear outcomes so that they can carry the business with you and not carry the business on top of you. That makes sense. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is you want to have AI build a clarity and authority pack for you. All right. So here's what you're going to do. You are going to feed AI each team member's current responsibilities. So look at the key people on your team, okay? And then pick out their current responsibilities. Again, this is something that you can do via audio. You don't have to sit down and write all of this stuff down, journal it. You don't have to do any of that. You could literally speak it audio into Chat GPT. That's one of my favorite things to do. Okay. So for each key person on your team, you're going to list their strengths and then you're going to list the outcomes you want them to have. Okay. So here's a prompt that you can use. Okay. Based on this information, create a clear role scope, outcomes that they own, KPIs, and decisions they can make without the CEO and decisions that they should escalate. Okay? That's the prompt. Again, if you're just hopping in, if you want the document that's got these prompts, if you just type in strategy 3 in the comments, we will make sure that we get it for you. Okay? We'll make sure that we get it out to you. So that's the prompt. And so what happens is AI is going to give you an output that says lead of X and the role that it owns and the results and the outcomes that that particular role is responsible for. Okay. Again, functionally, I want to say I really want to call this tool functionally, but it's not. It's functionally. Function LY, Functionly is a cool tool that you can use to create some dynamic org charts. You could do this in Notion AI. For those of you, some of you may be using Trainual. Trainual is another really cool place where you could create some org charts and some job descriptions that makes it really, really easy to see, really, really easy to use. And so, and then again, if you don't have any of those tools, of course, you could use ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. Now, Gemini here, if you're using Nano Banana, you could create some really cool graphics. Ugh, ugh. I know everybody is on the like, I love Google, I love Gemini Gems, I know that's everybody's thing right now, but honestly, the way that I have tested it and the dynamic way that I use it is just not, it's not up to par for my standards, right? But we believe in using best in class when it comes to our software and tools, as opposed to trying to find all-in-ones. That's our strategy. So that might be the reason why I think a little bit differently. But if you love the Googs, go ahead and use them. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. All right. So that in the next step, all of your humans, they step into their lanes now, right? Like you can walk them through the scope. You basically affirm for them, like, you own this now. This belongs to you. I expect you to lead here in this area. Okay. Have somebody on your team set up the dashboard so they can track their KPIs. And now what happens is you can focus on growth and not control. You can actually focus on the growth of your business instead of feeling like you have to have control over every single thing. Okay. You're not approving every single move. You're not babysitting everybody's projects. You're not filling in the gaps. Now, what you're doing is you're working at that founder CEO altitude, that founder CEO level, where you're deciding direction, creating opportunities, and then letting your leaders catch and run with those opportunities that you've created for them. Okay. So, what does this look like? If you got two leaders, hold on. Hold on, y'all. Y'all know that's my little alarm, so give me a minute. Mm, thank you. Okay. It's my little personal little mindfulness thing. Anyway. Okay, so you got two leaders and they take on two clients, and if each client is about 22.5 each, okay, you're looking at about $90,000 a year of extra revenue without adding more headcount, right? This is why I said that this is one of my absolute favorite ways to bring more money into the business, is by looking in the business to see where you already have money hidden in the business that you're already running. So yes, you might need more clients, and yes, you might need to increase your LTV, lifetime value, and yes, you might need to decrease your CAC, and yes, you might need to increase client retention. Yes, all of those things are true. And you will be surprised how much more money you can put back into your business when you start digging to find all of the places in your business where you have money hidden in the activities that you're already doing, right? So you're getting escalations off your plate. You have roles and clarity with no overlap. You take yourself as the founder CEO out of those operations. Your leaders are fully utilized. And if you use this at max capacity, given the numbers that we talked about today, you are looking at anywhere from $260,000 to $600,000 a year. back into your business. That is money that is hidden in your business right now with what you are already doing. If you never got another client, if you didn't retain another client, if you didn't increase your LTV, if you didn't decrease your CAC, if you didn't do any of those things, this is money that is currently hiding in your business right now without you having to work more hours, without you having to have more hustle or more burnout. It's actually hiding in your business with the opportunity for you to have less stress and less of that operational work in your business. And so what ends up happening is you're now building a business that stops leaning on you because it can stand on its own if infrastructure. Okay? All right. So if this was helpful, let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments. And here's what I want to give to you. I want to give you the opportunity. Let's evaluate your structure. Let's identify any leaks that you may be having, and let's architect your business to the next level. It's one of my absolute favorite things to do. Okay. So if you want to do this with me, because you're like, listen, Mrs. Jones, I hear you. All of this is great. I may or may not do any of this myself. No problem. What I want you to do is there's a link somewhere here, bio, comments, somewhere. I want you to book a 15-minute CEO clarity call with me. We're going to identify one of those areas that is going to be most important for you to attack right now so that you can have some priorities and start bringing that money back into your business. So find that link, book that call. And if you know any other founder CEOs who are in that position, shoot them my information, because this is what Mrs. Jones loves to do. Says, oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Says, this is very helpful. I appreciate you for taking the time out to share. You are absolutely, absolutely welcome. And I saw that you typed in strategy 3, so I will make sure that the team gets you this document. This is like my own personal document, so I have to have them, formulated for you guys. One of the things that we said that we were going to stop doing again in terms of, productivity is like, I'm not going to be creating all of these PDFs if people don't want them. So I have things that we utilize in our business. And so then if we discover that people want them, we'll go ahead and formulate them and send them out to you guys. So it'll be a couple of days, but you guys will get it. Okay. All right. Book that 15-minute CEO call, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye. You know what? Hold on. So I've got